I explored Buddhism my whole life. However, I couldn't explain what Buddhism actually teaches. We're taught all these ideas about detachment and giving up what we want, and we simply don't know why we do them. We just try to suppress our desires without questioning why. As I got older, I realized that this was a universal experience. Most of my other spiritual friends also felt the exact same way. They weren't sure what Buddhism actually was. For most people, mainstream spirituality is something you hear about in quotes. It's something that is vastly oversimplified. For me, Buddhism looked like sitting in silence, trying to empty my mind, chanting mantras, and listening to guided meditations during the summer whenever I needed to de-stress. And for most people seeking peace, this is what being spiritual means. It means trying to act perfectly calm, chanting mantras, suppressing your ambition, or lighting a candle in the evening. We continue to try all these things without understanding the true mechanics behind them. And that is the core issue. A lack of understanding behind why we do these actions will impact us in the long term. However, that is absolutely our culture's fault for diluting the message. Most people simply lack proper guidance. Authentic Buddhist philosophy was traditionally passed down through dedicated teachers, deep study, and communities. These mentors used to guide practitioners slowly over time to understand the profound intent behind why we do certain practices and why human nature works the way it does. And today, that deep guidance is missing. The reason being that people are either growing away from traditional practice, or people are simply disconnecting from the spiritual advice that the wellness industry has instilled in them due to feeling immense guilt for still wanting things. You might eventually stop meditating or practicing because you feel like a failure for having earthly desires. And that is exactly why it is very important in this particular generation to go out and search for the authentic knowledge that makes us more connected to our highest potential and the beautiful reality of Nichiren Buddhism. For me, Nichiren Buddhism entered my life accompanied by immense suffering. Years ago in the Netherlands, I was in a relationship with a girl who was a member of the SGI. She was about to receive the Gohonzon at home, which was my first encounter with this Japanese Buddhism. I understood nothing of the ritual. A large group of people gathered at her house to install a scroll, and they were chanting. I noticed I received the cold shoulder from the SGI members. They gave me the impression that I was a burden standing between my girlfriend and the organization. Ultimately, this led to a breakup. From that moment, Nichiren Buddhism accelerated in my life. I was alone in my apartment, sat before a blank wall, and tentatively began chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Within 5 minutes, tears flowed from my eyes like a waterfall. I eventually became homeless as a result of the breakup, owning only an old Canon camera, a laptop, and an old Alfa Romeo. It was winter, and I had to survive. I realized I was seeing the Buddha everywhere during the critical decisions I faced while being homeless. It felt as if something was constantly pointing me in the right direction. I listened to those hints and found a small hotel in a village where I used the Wi-Fi to upload a video to my former YouTube channel. One thing led to another. The hotel owner allowed me to stay for a very low price, and the video I uploaded went viral. That covered the hotel costs. The video was this exact chant video. I continued to see signs from the Buddha, which led me to a paranormal fair in Rotterdam. A psychic there insisted on drawing my aura. She spoke while drawing. "I am glad you found your feet again. It is good that you listened." She finished the drawing. She said, "The large heart represents your Buddha nature, which is very prominent in you. Your aura makes people with negative intentions feel uncomfortable. My own turning point happened when I met an older Japanese man. He was dressed entirely in black, resting quietly 2 tables away. He became a profound mentor to me. He introduced me directly to the pure teachings of Nichiren Daishonin. He also provided a warm introduction to his family, who are the people behind this channel. And this is how I came in touch with NMRKOB. This genuine connection led me to establish a very deep, consistent daily practice as an independent Nichiren Buddhist. Today, my dedication continues to grow, and I currently have the honor of recording the voiceovers for the NMRKOB channel to show my appreciation for this man and his family, who are deeply rooted in my heart. That is why the Buddha named Siddhartha Gautama, the Lotus Sutra, and the writings of Nichiren Daishonin are so important to us. Not groups or sects or someone else's opinion. Firstly, the most important thing about this specific Buddhist teaching is that it completely rethinks human desire. For example, you might be taught that giving up your ego and material wants is very important, while the actual life that you live requires you to be ambitious, or you deeply crave a loving relationship, or you want financial security. And that is completely fine, because different people are driven by different intense desires. Some people are driven by love. Some people are driven by massive career goals. Some people are driven by the need for deep inner peace. To acknowledge this reality of human nature, Nichiren Buddhism introduces a core concept called Bonno Soku Bodai. This translates directly to earthly desires are enlightenment. Your natural desires act as the crucial starting point. They lead you directly to chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Through the absolute power of this chanting process, the raw energy of those earthly desires is completely transformed into the profound wisdom and limitless compassion of a Buddha. If you're someone who is very emotional, values deep connection, and longs for a soulmate or a beautiful family, then relationship desires are your specific spiritual fuel. This is the desire for love and connection. It's a completely beautiful driving force in my humble opinion. I focus on bringing my real emotional desires to my practice every single day, and it makes me feel very positive and supported by the mystic law. You can do this by bringing your raw feelings to your daily chanting of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, by focusing on the love you want to create, and of course, showing up authentically in your life. You get to build a profound spiritual foundation using the exact relationship goals of your choice. And it is a very beautiful mechanism that will take you a long way. Now, if you're someone who likes to build things, ask questions, and pursue massive career milestones, then intellectual and material ambition is your specific fuel. This is the drive for ultimate success and understanding, and you can practice this in many different ways. You can read the foundational writings, study the philosophy, and simultaneously pursue that massive promotion or that new business idea. So wondering about how to achieve your highest goals becomes a literal spiritual exercise. And if you're someone who is very disciplined and wants to heal deep generational trauma, then the desire for profound mental transformation is your specific fuel. This is for people who are drawn to overcoming internal darkness, ultimate focus, and mental resilience. You can sit, focus your intention, and look inwards into yourself. Try to reflect on the exact pain you want to eradicate, and use that specific pain as the intense motivation to chant. If none of these specific drives resonate with you, we have another way this principle applies, focused on everyday survival and duty. This is for the people who try to just be a better person every day, put sincerity and love into their daily work, and try to be completely selfless for the families they provide for. The desire to simply survive and protect your loved ones is a massive spiritual fuel. My mother is someone who had devoted her entire life to providing for us. She is the most sincere and passionate person that I know, who has put her absolute all into her daily jobs, and this was done completely out of a desire to help the people around her be secure. She is someone who completely lacked the time to go to wellness retreats every day, or to sit down and do hours of silent meditation, due to the intense desire and passion she put into keeping us afloat. That everyday struggle itself became the raw material for her enlightenment. This is a profound relationship that she had with her own daily challenges. So by using your daily duties, your stress, and your desires selflessly, you awaken your highest self. I do want to mention that none of these desires are higher or lower than the other. They all lead to the exact same thing: absolute spiritual awakening. The only difference is you can choose and pick what goal resonates the most with you right now. So if you want to build a business, you can use material ambition. If you're emotional, you can use the desire for love. If you want to heal trauma, you can use the desire for peace. And if you're a person of action who is sincerely dedicated to their family, you can use the desire to provide. They all lead you to the exact same spiritual destination. People simply lack the awareness that they have permission to want things. Understanding that you absolutely do have this permission will give you the freedom that you've always needed. And you're now completely free from practicing spirituality with guilt. You're using what resonates with you. You're aiming for what you like. And it also leads you one step closer to absolute happiness. So now you can chase what you like and still feel completely aligned with the mystic law. The second most important thing about this Buddhist philosophy is that it allows multiple ways of experiencing this transformation, because it understands that people experience the attainment of Buddhahood differently. Some people experience the chanting of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo as completely opening up their external reality immediately. They feel that their spiritual practice and their breakthroughs emerge at the exact same time. This is a perspective of instant, visible victory in their environment. And some people have this gradual, internal relationship with the practice, where they feel like their environment is shifting slowly, and they are building an unshakable inner resilience first. This is a perspective of deep, internal character forging. And then there are people who experience massive obstacles right after they start chanting, recognizing that the mystic law is bringing up their deepest karma to be cleared out once and for all. Nichiren Buddhism teaches the profound principle of changing poison into medicine. Through strong faith and chanting, you take the toxic, painful experiences of your karma and literally transform them into the highest medicine of enlightenment and joy. All three experiences are completely accepted in Nichiren Buddhism, and they're all equally valid. You can embrace whatever phase you feel resonates with your current life season and follow that. So there are two important things to note down. We have permission to use our earthly desires to get closer to enlightenment, and we have different ways of experiencing that spiritual transformation. And the point of all of this is to absolutely avoid arguing about which experience is right. The point is to recognize that people relate to their own life journey differently, the one universal law, and that absolute freedom from guilt is one of the most important things that this Buddhism has to offer. Once you understand this, Buddhism stops feeling restrictive. It starts feeling empowering because you're completely dropping the guilt you inherited from mainstream wellness culture. You're now choosing your goals consciously. You can chant for what resonates with you the best. And all spiritual seekers should have the option of honoring a desire that fits them the most and to see their challenges in a way that relates to them. Ultimately, it's something that you feel deep inside. So knowing of this principle of Bunnosoku Bodai will help you articulate your beliefs, as well as deepen your connection with your own potential. All of these desires for love, material success, and inner peace are equally respected in this practice. Nichiren Buddhism offers you a practical mechanism to use your desires and different ways to relate to your own human nature. You are completely freed from being boxed into one method of forced detachment or one belief of suppressing your ego. And when you have this inner framework of how you want to deepen your connection to your highest self, your spiritual life stops feeling confusing. The whole process starts to feel incredibly intentional. And that is the importance of understanding why we utilize our desires the way that we do. You can now choose how you see your goals. You can choose the exact desires you want to chant for, and you can confidently practice your faith without feeling ashamed. And when people ask you what makes you practice this form of Buddhism, you can confidently explain your beliefs and your path to the attainment of Buddhahood to them, because you know that you're going in the right direction with your intentions clearly defined. The purpose of this video was to help other spiritual seekers realize just how beautiful this philosophy is. How many different desires we can use to get closer to our Buddha nature, and how you can see your own struggles in empowering ways. We absolutely reject being boxed in. We completely refuse to be limited by forced detachment. We can still follow a profound spiritual path in a way that resonates with our modern lives. The ultimate goal is to deepen this connection with the mystic law and self-realize during the time that we have left on this earth. NMRKOB is something very special. Join them as member at NMRKOB.com. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching.